Can you lose weight by just eating healthy without exercising? The answer is a definitive yes, and I'm not going to say what you might traditionally hear, which is just eat less. I'm going to share with you how eating healthy is good, but not enough, and how you don't need to be super duper duper healthily fancy. I guarantee you already have the information to be healthy enough in front of you. I'll review the basics that you need to know, but also I'll review the thing most personal trainers, doctors, nutritionists do not talk about, which is emotional or binge eating. If you can combine basic healthy eating with overcoming binge and emotional eating, you can lose weight without exercising. Now, if you do like this video, go ahead and like it. Leave a review. Comment. I would love to engage with you. Now, there's also an article down below which links to a case study. And then lastly, there's also a video which I've covered before on this topic from a different angle. So that's all down below. Like or subscribe. Thank you. Now let's get into the content for today. The basic point I'm making is there's only two things you need to lose weight. You do not need to use exercise to lose weight. Those two things are healthy eating and stopping binge eating. Now, healthy eating, at first I didn't know these two principles existed. I was a personal trainer for a couple of years, and I would just tell people about healthy eating. Back then, I also thought exercise would lead to weight loss. And now, years later, I've realized that exercise has minimal effect on weight loss. It's all about eating and avoiding binge eating. So back then, as a trainer, I would tell people the simple equation of calories in, calories out. You just got to watch your diet. And time again, people would lose weight, and then they'd come to me saying they regained the weight over the weekend. They had a bad weekend. They went out. They had a bad day. They hung out with their friend. They were bad. And I kept hearing that. And back then, I didn't have the frameworks of intuitive eating. I didn't know about health at every size. I was still getting my master's degree in counseling. And so when I started taking my graduate studies and getting to know the eating disorder population, I became exposed to binge eating. And what hit me hard about the eating disorder population was that there were normal looking people there. I'm talking people you'd never guess had so many struggles with food. And I listened. And I related it to my own struggles back when I was wrestling. And I would binge eat after I lost all the weight. And I started putting these dots together. I started realizing that healthy eating, people obsess about it too much, and then that obsession causes stress, and not to say that the only source of stress is obsession with healthy eating, but stress from trying to eat too healthy, and then stress from life. These combine and get people to binge eat, and where they regain all their lost weight. So I started getting pretty common sense advice that I'm about to share with you right now. Before we get into that advice, I just want you to think real quick. What are the fundamentals of eating? What comes up for you when I say eating fundamentals, nutrition fundamentals? For most people who I ask this question to, they simply reply, eat more veggies, eat less carbs, eat less sweets. And that's basically it. I'm going to give you the short answer. You know, whether you look at keto, whether you look at paleo, low carb, or even the government plate, you know, that food plate? Well, that food plate is good enough. You don't need to know more than that. The food plate says have 25% vegetables, have 25% carbs, have 25% protein, and then have 25% fat. Now, the other day I looked up a diabetes diagram, and the diabetes diagram had 50% vegetables, 25% protein and carbs, protein and fat, and then 25% carbs. You will get too bogged down in information if you worry about whether you should do 25% vegetables or 50% vegetables. That is too in-depth detail. Here's the point. Eat vegetables, protein and fat, and carbs each meal. Have meals. Those snacks, those bars, that you can have that, but during the meals that you do eat, you don't, and I'm not saying you have to have breakfast, I'm not saying you have to have lunch. The meals that you do eat, get all 3 or 4. Have a balanced meal. Don't just be having pasta with a little bit of veggies. That sauce does not count as vegetables. If you just have a big thing of pasta, that's like 90% carb. If you just have pizza, that's like 90% carb. Now, if you look at a sandwich, you can think about, you might say, oh, my sandwich has vegetables in it. Well, if you actually took open the sandwich, took the vegetables over here, and you have these 2 pieces of bread over here and like maybe some meat over here, it would be like probably 70% carbs by volume. So the only complexity comes from if you can't see all the vegetables in the like sandwich, for example, or if you aren't sure what you're eating. So this is a very simple guideline. Do not overthink this. Do not overthink this. Have balanced meals. Have balanced meals. Okay? Take the time and plan out 2 meals a day, because everyone has 2 meals a day. I know a few people who do 1 meal a day, but they are very exceptional. Have at least 2 meals a day. Okay? Could be whenever. And you can have snacks in between, all right, if you want. For these meals, get some veggies, get some carbs, get some protein and fat. That's good enough. It's seriously good enough. Okay? That's good enough because what most people are worried about is those binge eating attacks. You know binge eating? It's when you're good on dieting for a while or you're good health behavior for a while. But then what happens is somehow you have a bad day. You spike up. You eat too much. Now, binge eating is something that you can definitely reduce. There's that video down below, which is 4 steps on how to stop binge eating. The scope of this video is not going to cover all 4 steps, but you need to talk about binge eating. You need to talk about emotional eating, because the reason people obsess and worry about too much nutrition, they whether or not spinach or kale is better, you don't want to get lost in those little details. There's fear over these little details because you are procrastinating. And I hate to call you out like this, but I see this so many times. Someone who comes in, when I ask them if they binge eat or emotionally eat, they say yes, but then their questions are about these little minute details. These little, like, should I have whole beans or refried beans? And it's totally missing the point. Just follow the guidelines of having balanced meals when you eat your meals. The fear, why people preoccupy with these little nutritional informations, I don't know if that's quite the right word, but people get preoccupied with this nutritional info because they keep regaining all their lost weight and they don't see the binge eating or emotional eating. So what happens, have you ever lost some weight and then you went on a trip, or you went to a birthday party and all this food was available, and so you said, this is a one-time thing, I'll be better next time, but for now I'm just gonna I gotta do it. So you eat a bunch of food, you gain back all the weight, you feel bad afterwards. Damn it. Secretly you're like, I kind of like that. Part of you is kind of like, I kind of like that. But then you go back to eating good. And you don't see this pattern, right? You don't see this pattern that every few weeks or maybe once a week, you eat a lot of food and you regain the weight. You don't see that pattern. You keep on saying to yourself, oh, this is just a one-time thing. This is an anomaly. This is, I'm a good eater. This is a one-time thing. So this is where we have to be honest with ourselves. Because people, they avoid looking at their binge and emotional eating. They avoid it. It's like it's not there. And when you avoid those spikes in weight gain, what ends up happening is that you then, it's like in your mind, you have just a straight line of eating healthy almost. But your weight isn't going down. You can see that. So then you start saying, okay, I'm eating healthy, but my weight isn't going down. So I must be missing something on the health side. I must be missing some little detail. There must be some trick. There must be some, advanced information I need. And so you ask these questions about, is butter coffee too many calories? Is the fat in steak worse than the fat in chicken? You try to figure out these little details, and you obsess about them, and you miss the fact that you're binge and emotional eating once every now and then. You can be good and lose weight, but if you don't address the emotional eating, you're not going to keep it off. You're going to go in this yo-yo dieting cycle, up and down and up and down, and you're going to keep on building up this pressure and tension that's going to kind of start eating away at you even. You don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that, okay? That's what I help people with, okay? When you've done this for a while and you know enough about nutrition, but you can't quite get over the hump in terms of those binge and emotional eating splurges, that's where I come in, okay? Again, you can click that video down below for four keys on how to unlock binge eating. For now, if you do want to just schedule a 15-minute call with me, this is just so I can give you one golden nugget of how to stop binge eating, or, I'm betting you know enough about nutrition, but if you do want to cover the basics of nutrition, we can talk about that. Just get one nugget just for us to connect a little bit over the phone. There's no way I can sell you anything in 15 minutes. This is just to help you out. Now, how the story ends is that after I started realizing people just needed help with their eating and psychology, I stopped being a personal trainer. I opened up this brand, and I've been having a blast at it ever since. I'm amazed at when people can admit that they have these little splurges with food and they work and do a little bit of introspection, how fast things change. So if this connects with you, go ahead and schedule that 15-minute conversation below. That's weightlossenlightenment.com/15mins. That's 15mins. 15mins. weightlossenlightenment.com/15mins. All right. Have a great day. Peace.